Brian, would you double check? Oh, I have to hit go live.
Yeah, you gotta hit go live.
Okay, that's why.
It's not there yet.
She gotta hit go live.
All right, now it should be. Live. Hallelujah. Okay, we're on. We're on? Okay.
It was a turn, it was 2 turns, so I spent an hour editing. It's not there?
It's not streaming.
Should be.
Should be.
So we got excellent connection.
I just refreshed my computer today. Maybe I missed the delay. Hang on.
Hello, hello. Got it?
Council ready?
Yep, yeah.
Ready? Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Village of Walton Hills Committee of the Whole meeting of Tuesday, June 7th, 2022 at 7:02 p.m. We'll do roll call next. Councilwoman Jennifer Allen,
Here.
Councilwoman Mary Brenner Miller,
Here.
Councilman Fred Nielsen,
Here.
Councilman Raymond Whedon,
Present.
and Councilman Brian Spitznagel.
Here.
Our also present is our law solicitor, John Montello. Angela Rivera, who's normally here, is out of town for a family matter, but she will be here next week for our finance meeting and for our COW meeting. Okay, item 3, we have quite a few COW meeting minutes on it. It's up to council. You don't have to pass them tonight. You can pass them in the next COW meeting if you want. That's up to you. We can go through them, or you can make a motion, whatever you decide to do.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Mr. Montello, can I make a motion to receive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these in one grouping?
Everyone agrees?
So I'd like to make a motion to receive and file the COW meeting minutes for January 4th, 2022, January 11th, 2022, February 1st, 2022, February 15th, 2022, and for March 1st, 2022.
Second.
There's second by Mary Brenner Miller.
Mr. Mayor?
Vote on the motion. Oh, you got it. Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, just 2 typographical errors, that's all they are. It doesn't affect the minutes themselves.
Okay.
In the first minute of January 4th, first line, it says Shaw McCormick. The lady's name has an N on it, Sean McCormick. The last one is the March 15th minutes.
I didn't include that one.
Oh, you did not include that one.
We'll make the correction, no, we
Yeah,
can-
in the March 15th minutes, last page, it starts as, where it says Councilman Spitznagel speaks. The second sentence, this is through Senator Goines' office. There is no Senator Goines. So I don't know. I think that's through Congressman Joyce's office.
we'll look
My
at that and
memory
make
serves.
that
Those are the
correction.
only 2. Yeah, the minor
Okay.
corrections.
So is there a second on the motion?
Second.
Mary.
Second by Mary. Vote on the motion. Jennifer Allen,
Yes.
Mary Brenner Miller,
Yes.
Fred Nielsen,
Yes.
Raymond Whedon,
Yes.
and Brian Spitznagel.
Yes.
Okay. Those minutes pass. Thank you, everybody.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like
Yes.
to make a motion to file and receive the COW meeting minutes from March 15th, 2022. I thought that was the only one that needed a correction. That's why I only did the first 5. I apologize to Sean. I missed remaining. Sorry. Second.
Vote on the motion. Jennifer Allen,
Yes.
Mary Brenner Miller,
Yes.
Fred Nielsen,
Yes.
Raymond Whedon,
Yes.
and Brian Spitznagel.
Yes.
Okay. Minutes approved. All those minutes are approved. At this time, we'll take comments related to the agenda items. Any comments? We'll start going through the agenda. Any comments from residents related to the agenda items? Okay. I will start with the agenda items. So we have legislation, Resolution 2020-2-13. That's a 2022 road program. We'd like to award the bid to Specialized Construction. You do have the bid tabs along with the letter of recommendation. I can read that into the record. Mr. Gelati here. Okay. This is for the asphalt repairs. Okay. Dear Mayor Colograph, the village has received 4 bid proposals for the project known as the 2022 road program. Bid tabulation attached. I have reviewed the bid proposals and have identified the lowest and best bid proposal as that being submitted by Specialized Construction in the total amount of $161,215. Specialized Construction has previously and successfully performed similar work for the village of the Walton Hills, and I'm therefore recommending that Specialized Construction be awarded the contract for the 2022 road program. You guys do have a copy. And if we need to have Joe here at the next COW meeting, we can do that. I just thought we'd start looking, we've already approved it, look at it, if you wanted to go over the bids or any questions. Specialized has done quite a bit of work in the village, and they've done a good job. They've done a lot of work, actually, in our surrounding communities, too, so.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mary.
If possible, could we have Joe?
Or Jennifer, I'm sorry.
That's okay. If possible, could we have Joe even just submit a letter with what grants we received towards each of these projects?
Yeah,
Because I know we have
can-
some for the Alexander Road. I believe we had some for this. I believe there was some for the concrete, but just to know those dollar amounts right with the projects to begin.
yeah, what I'll do is I'll have Angela give the total cost for the project and what we've been awarded, and if there's any that do have a 0% loan to. And for the next COW, not a problem at all.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll move on to the second one, item B. That's Resolution 2022-14. That's concrete repair program, A&J Cement Contractors. There's a resolution there. That is for the industrial area. That is a grant we received. I'll read in the record the letter, which is very similar. Probably a form letter he uses, so, but good to have it in record here. Dear Mayor Colograph, the village has received 4 bid proposals for the project known as the 2022 concrete program. Bid tabulations are attached. I have reviewed the bid proposal and identified the lowest and best bid proposal as they are being submitted by A&J Cement Contractors Incorporated in the amount of $165,500. Previously, this contractor has successfully performed similar for communities represented by Chagrin Valley Engineering. I am therefore recommending that A&J Cement Contractors Incorporated be awarded the contract for the 2022 concrete road program. Okay?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
That one, I believe, was the one that's only eligible for our industrial areas.
That is correct. Those are concrete repairs. So the identified areas is the Crick Road area, which we have a lot of road work that could be done there. We could have $1 million there, but we'll keep chugging away at it. We'll keep applying for these grants. Any questions on that? These have all been talked about in previous COW meetings. We've given permission for it to go out for bids. The bids have gotten back, and now they're just giving a recommendation. Okay. We'll move on to item C. That's Resolution 2022-15. That's the Hickory Tulip Chestnut resurfacing here. Okay. I also have another letter of recommendation from Mr. Gelati. Plus, Rob reviews these along with Joe, too. They just don't do it themselves. Dear Mayor Kohler, they both opened the bids together, Rob and Joe. Dear Mayor Kohler, the village has received 5 bid proposals for the project known as the Hickory Tulip Chestnut resurfacing. Bid tabulation attached. I have reviewed the bid proposals and have identified the lowest and best bid proposal as that being submitted by Crossroads Asphalt Recycling Incorporated in the amount of $275,489. References have successfully been checked. I am therefore recommending that Crossroads Asphalt Recycling Incorporated be awarded the contract for the Hickory Tulip Chestnut resurfacing. It should be noted that a bid for this contract was submitted by Geauga Highway Company, which contained some errors or deficiencies. The unit price bid for each individual bid item was entered incorrectly on the bid submitted by Geauga, thus resulting in an actual total bid in excess of $795 million. Additionally, the Geauga bid was not able to list any previously completed project references for work similar to work being contemplated for the Hickory Tulip Chestnut resurfacing. So they were taken out of the bid because they wrongfully wasn't submitted correctly, which is illegal, and that was very legal. You can't give them a chance to rebid because it wouldn't be fair to the other. Your price is your price. That's the purpose of a sealed bid. Okay? I know there's a lot of people in here that live in that area, so we hope that project goes well and you have a nice, clean, new road in that area. We want to do that in some of our areas, like our street, right, Ray?
That's right.
Our neighborhood and some of the other neighborhoods. I get yelled at all the time when your road's bad and you live there. People probably give me the least break. Okay.
Mayor Colgrove,
Yes, go ahead.
just wanted to make a quick comment that this Hickory Tulip Chestnut resurfacing is, this project is fully funded by the village. This is not one that is, the village received grants for. This is part of our the village's 2022 road program. And this is, we budgeted, I believe, $257,000 and some odd change.
Correct.
This bid is a little above our engineer's estimate and what we actually budgeted for, but so we just want to make sure we acknowledge that there's a little bit of a little over
Correct.
on the allocation what we had anticipated.
And I know I'll sound like a broken record, but a lot of people will say, well, you know, you're doing Alexander, you're doing all these other roads, why aren't you doing my neighborhood? The reason is we get grants from those. We get free money. Secondary roads, there is no free money. That comes right out of our budget. So we have to look at that all together differently because that's our bottom line. So, and I know we'll hear it because we're going to be repaving the other part of Alexander Road, but we're certainly not going to pass up any free money because we got to keep those roads nice too. We wish there was a way to get funding for our secondary roads, but the only way to do that is through payroll tax, businesses, and that's what we're working on. Okay. Any questions relating to those resolutions? We'll have them on the the agenda for the next COW meeting. But at that time too, I'll get the total, I'll get each project sectioned out with what grant money and what we're funding. As Councilman Whedon said, that the Hickory, Tulip, and Chestnut, that's us totally funding that road. Okay, let me get my next. The next item is item D, Resolution 2022-16. That's the tax levies. We have to submit that to the county by July 20th, 2022. It's something we do every year. So we'd like to get it passed in June if we're going to recess in July. If not, we'd have to put it on a special meeting or have our meeting in July. Angela can talk more to that if you need to. She needs to. The big amount is the property tax from our businesses and residents, and the police pension. Those are the two listed. Mr. Montello can talk to it too. I know you're very familiar with it from this community and other communities. If anybody has any questions related to that. And also includes the tax budget too, which we have to submit to the county every year. Our tax is 0.3 mils still in our community.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
do you know when this has to be submitted by?
yes, July 20th.
July 20th, okay.
So we could talk about it next meeting. We could even have a COW meeting before the council meeting if we needed to.
Thank you.
Are there any increases in we gotta make sure, I know we gave some raises, I think. So if there's any increases, I'm not sure if it's reflected in the estimated expenditures encumbered. We can ask Angela that. Yeah, I'll write that down. I think that's all in the general. Those were. Any residents, while council's looking over some stuff, any residents have anything related to those items or the items we've talked about earlier? Yeah, go ahead, John.
Norland on Hickory. You said about the tax that you're getting from the businesses and things like that. With the development of the Ford plant over there and the company that's handling that, do they gonna pay us tax till it's developed?
We're already starting to receive payroll tax from the employees that are there right now. If they work their 21 days, they have to start paying taxes. And they'll be there 10 to 14 months. So
Right.
we've already started to receive some payroll tax from those employees that are there. It's about a little less than 30 employees right now doing the demolition up there.
Then additionally, when you get a building developed there, let's just
Oh,
say.
that's
then-
the whole thing.
Okay. Now, are we doing anything about Crick Road businesses to develop that area down there? That's kind of not a great place with empty businesses.
We're kind of getting off the subject, but we're always looking to, one of the things, most important thing, which people don't realize, it's very hard to attract businesses, even though it's getting better now. Retaining your businesses is one of the hardest things, and we've been very successful in retaining the businesses we have. We don't have a real lot of empty buildings. But yeah, we definitely want to clean that up. We're hoping to clean up the Northfield corridor. You know, we're talking about a sidewalk all the way from the Ford plant. We'd like to maybe partner with Northfield there a little bit, because really they have a lot of employees there at the casino, and take it all the way to the bridge. So, and then from there, we're looking to, you know, clean it up a little bit. You know, you put a sidewalk, maybe we can have some, you know, plantings or different things like that. So there's a lot of things with that corridor. That we actually did apply for a grant for $995,000 for a sidewalk through the state.
I remember
That we haven't heard back from it yet. But regardless of that, we got other ways to fund it too. But that,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. But that's, we're hoping to get 1,000 jobs there when it's all over, maybe more. We're hoping something very similar to what happened to the Chrysler plant. But we're gonna start building 244,000 square foot building here. We're waiting for a set of plans and stuff. We wanna get a planning commission scheduled, and what you got in the journal was just a preview. We'll start when we get some numbers and you know, we'll probably be in a development agreement on job creation stuff. That will all be coming forward. But we just passed in the planning commission a big expansion for NPK, 50,000 square feet with 10 new employees. NPK and Smith and Obi expanding. So to answer your question, you're gonna see a lot of activity in the village, and payroll taxes, that's what funds it. Funds our community. Property tax on a $200,000 house, I think we get about 40-something dollars. It's payroll tax that pays for my services and your services and everything here. Property tax is very little in our community, different than a lot of communities. Like Lakewood, they have a very high tax because they pay their bills with their property tax. We do it through payroll tax. Okay. So we got the tax levies, the tax budget's the same. Another housekeeping item that our fiscal officer submits to the county. We got item F. That's our 2022-18. That's the Alexander Road Phase 2, Crossroads Asphalt Recycling. Joe mentioned to me today that they had ended up coming in as the best bidder and lowest bidder for both of those projects. I will read his letter of recommendation for that. So people living on Alexander from here down to our border will be repaved. Now we just got to get the mayor of Valley View to pave his part to Independence there. That's probably, it's terrible. I don't know if you guys, when you ride that area, it's really bad there. All right, where's Joe's letters here? I gotta find, that's the big one. If I get. All right,
The last,
Last one.
yeah, let's see what he's got. Yeah, I should have that. Did I
Hold
press
on.
no? There it is. All right, very good. Thank you,
I want
Jennifer.
Angela's pay.
You want Angela's pay? I want Angela's pay.
Just for the day.
Okay, this is another recommendation letter from our village engineer, Chagrin Valley Engineering, Mr. Gelati. Dear Mayor Colagraph, the village has received 5 bid proposals for the project known as Alexander Road Resurfacing Bid Tabulation. I have reviewed the bid proposals and have identified the lowest and best bid proposal as that being submitted by Crossroads Asphalt Recycling, Inc. in the amount of $495,905. References have successfully been checked. I am therefore recommending that Crossroads Asphalt Recycling Incorporated be awarded the contract for the Alexander Road Resurfacing Phase 2. That's the one I'll get the other, we'll get the total package together too for council to look at it next week.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
I thought this was for the section of Alexander between Walton and Dunham.
That was my understanding.
I thought it was going further. Maybe I'm wrong.
If we could just find that out.
I
for
will
sure.
I'll get all that. I'll probably have Joe here.
Mhm.
I'll probably have Joe here to answer
So
that.
it's,
Then, yeah.
It's been a lot of
Maybe we didn't get phase 3 back then. I thought it was included with, okay, but it doesn't matter. I'll get that straight. You got a
Thank you.
couple of weeks before we vote on it, so
Right.
not that it matters. It's all good. Okay. Any questions related to that, to those items? Before
Nothing
we
on
move
mine
on.
yet.
Okay. So what we'll have, I'm just gonna recap, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Had that grant money, has that come in the second half of that? We don't know yet? Okay.
I'll get all that,
That's why
we'll get all that straight. I'll get the deadlines and everything with them. I just wanted to get them out because I knew there was a lot there. Joe wanted to get them out. They want to get the schedules, have some planning meetings with the contractor, get their schedule and start getting it rolling. So as soon as we can award that bid, then we can get them projects going here.
Mayor Photograph.
Yes,
It's not,
Right.
not in the minutes that we approved tonight, but yes, the grant for half of this has been awarded, plus the loan has been approved. I don't get all of the acronyms correct, but from the state of Ohio. So it's partially, half of the project is grant, the other half of the project is interest-free.
yes, it's a 0%.
Right.
That's why we did it all.
That's why we went out to bid. We waited for that second part to come in, the loan part to come in.
But it's been approved?
Yes.
I'll get a itemized bid cost for each project. Any questions from council related to everything that's on the agenda? Any questions? Let me recap real quick. So we'll have all those items again on the COW meeting for next week. And I'll have a breakout of each one of the projects. And also, we will go a little more in depth with the tax levy and tax budget if needed.
Do you think a special counsel is in order to pass some of these?
No, I don't think so. According to Joe, we're good if we go in July, a couple of weeks. June, we go in June. To be honest with you, even if we do recess for July and August, there's a good chance we're probably gonna have some meetings just due to the redevelopment of the corner.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
On the low bid, anyway, their starting date, estimated starting date was July 1st anyway, John, and it was 45 days for completion, so I think they were the earliest starting date. Those were late July and August. Yeah.
okay, any other questions related to that? Any residents have anything that we talked about so far you want to ask? Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You're not in new business. I'm sorry.
Well, I know, I don't want to just go and adjourn the meeting, because I probably know why a lot of you residents are here. And I just want to talk to council about this. Should we put a time frame on everybody? And the reason I say that if any of you have watched the many, many meetings we've had pertaining to this subject, okay, they've been very, very long, okay? What I don't want to do is get into a debate and stuff, but at the same time, I think it's important that, and I've never denied anybody or voted for anybody not to talk, whether I was a council person or a mayor, because I think it's important. But I'm going to give a little statement, because just to kind of let everybody know, but we've gone, if it's to do with the racetrack and recreation, there's been a survey that went out, okay, and I can publish it, okay? That was asked by many, many residents, so the survey took place, got the results in, okay, with basketball being the highest thing, which kind of surprised me, but that's what came in. A lot of comments and stuff, too. There was recreation committee meetings related to that issue, okay, which the public is invited to come to. Plus, it was discussed in many, many COW meetings, okay? And like any body, you come to a conclusion. Well, this body in the last meeting put a motion out there and voted on it to move forward with putting a portable basketball hoop in the racetrack, never eliminating the racetrack. So the comment I just want to make, because I don't want to make anything personal, because to be honest with you, I don't see how anything can be negative when it has to do with our park up there, okay? Because it's a recreation facility. And many of you who've heard my talks, it's the same thing as the Lake Club. To me, those are places to go and have fun. They go to relax. So it amazes me when they become negative. When you go up there to enjoy the people around you, or maybe just yourself, okay? Well, I sat in many meetings here concerning the racetrack, and there's been a lot of comments made. But one comment is very concerning to me, regardless of what happens. And that comment has come forward, and it's very concerning, especially in this day and age. And Mr. Mayor, if you make that a joint venture where both parties, or they have to work together, no different than you go up this swing, someone's on the swing, I have to wait for them to get off the swing. And it's my turn, okay? That bad things are going to happen. In fact, I just heard it the other day. Without being quantified, okay? That's concerning to me, because that should never happen. We're talking recreation. We're here to work together. We're residents, we're neighbors, we're friends. So the most concerning thing that I'll say about this, because, Mr. Harkai, you know, I've looked you in the eyes and I'll look everybody in the eyes. Try it. Try it. Maybe we're going to find out, maybe you'll meet some people that wouldn't come down and they're coming down for this, or maybe the people that are playing basketball might meet the people that are doing the cars, and you might even make a friend or say, hey, that's good. And I've said, if it doesn't work, then what does this body do? You review it. But my gosh, we can't give it a chance? That's concerning to me. That is very, very concerning. Recreation. Recreation. We're not talking raise someone's tax bill. I can understand somebody saying, Mr. Kohlegraf, I'm not giving it a chance. You raise my taxes, chances are you'll never lower them. I would agree with that. But recreation? We can't share a facility? We can't? That's all I have to say. I've commented and talked so much on this subject. I've been tasked for this council, okay? It's not that it's not important. Of course it's important. I'm going to tell you how I really feel about it. No one's probably going to go up there Sunday when the cars are racing. We'll probably be lucky if we get a few people playing basketball during the week. And all this has been nothing but just ruthless anger. And I have looked everybody in the eyes that has approached me and said, let's try it. Doesn't work, review it. I can't believe you're getting rid of it. No one said ever to get rid of the racetrack. No one ever said that. No one said anything like that. I get an email today saying, I'm saying, You know, I've talked very little about this. I'm going to tell you why. Because we got the greatest thing happening right now. Our community is going in a positive direction. What we've all been waiting for. I sat here for a long time. Ford plant closed in 2015. Every day somebody would say, Mayor or Councilman Colgrove, what's going on with the Ford plant? And what did I have to say like a broken record? Oh, it's up for sale. Nothing's happening. Finally, it's being demolished. Demolition, which is the best thing. At one time, they said they were going to keep part of it. We're going to have a brand new industrial park. Boy, is it going to look better than that green barbed wire fence from 1950. Looks like a prison with weeds this high. No one's embraced me about it. No one's even asking me. I'm so disappointed. And then I got this. It's like, guess what? When we get those employees there, this isn't even an issue. This issue would go away. This issue's here because of our finances. Once we get that payroll tax, we're going to be talking about when do we want to pave that road? Do we want to do 4 roads this year or just 2? It's all about the finances. It's not because somebody, I bet people, oh, you're being big. I'm the least that, okay? Why do I want to come to this meeting and argue with people and fight with people and have tension? Sean, you know, in a leadership role at the Lake Club, nobody wants that. It makes you, before your meeting, get like this. I can't understand it. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to be straight with you, Mr. Harkai. Since that racetrack has been in, I have dealt with many things as a council member and as a mayor. One of the first things I got tasked with as a mayor, if we're going to put everything on the table, I had to go up to the park with our recreation director, our assistant recreation director, Mr. Harkai, and our building commissioner. Okay? Why? Because we don't have enough tables at the park, so the people at the racetrack are taking the tables down to there, and then I got the recreation director and assistant recreation director saying they shouldn't be taking the tables. And what's the mayor got to do? He's got to go down there and be a referee. Okay? That's not where I want to be. Okay? But you know why? Because they couldn't seem to get it worked out. So what do? This is a couple years ago, probably before. I go there and I say, okay, I'm going to have to be this referee. I'm a pretty good mediator. So everybody speaks their mind, okay? We go down to the lower thing. This is when they wanted to put a dirt car track down there, okay? Get it all worked out. Everybody's happy. I go around each person. I say, are you good? I'm good. 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 Oh, only 2 hours. Okay. Get to the top of the hill. Is everybody good? One person says, nope, I'm not good. I can name other things, but that's not what it's about. I'm just going to make one statement. I'm not going to comment after anybody. I'm just going to tell you, there's no intention to ever get rid of the racetrack, okay? The intention is to make it a multi-purpose site, okay, from a survey that residents wanted, got back. I'll put the survey in the journal. I'll cut out the comments from the survey because some of the comments the people aren't going to like that have to do with the track, and we'll put the numbers in. Now, we all knew going in, I wasn't even for the survey. It's just like you. If I said, okay, these people in the room, let's take a vote here. These people in the room, they make the decisions for the village. That's not fair. We got 2,400 residents. But we did the survey, got the survey back. Now nobody's happy with the survey. Now, what does council do? They go against the survey? They were told to do the survey. Now they got the results back. Number 1 was basketball. Number one in the survey, basketball. So what does council do? Ignore that? I don't want to end it on a negative note, because it isn't, okay? Because I really think all of us as grown adults who need to set a fine example for a young man or other young men or women or girls up there that, hey, we all get along. Come on. You might like to jump rope. I might like to throw the baseball. Doesn't mean we can't be friends. Maybe I'll even try it. I don't understand why recreation as village always is so negative, and it doesn't need to be. It really doesn't. I'd be more, if you guys came up and said, hey, you know, I gotta pay my sewer bill, taxes are going, my road looks like crap, okay? But recreation, we can work those things out. So that's where I'm at. Want to put a time frame on everybody? You, council, you tell me. I've had emails from every council member saying we should put a time frame. If you don't want to and everybody wants a half hour, that's fine with me. I don't care. I don't care. We're being live streamed, just so everybody knows. So those comments that I said about bad things happening, those are on some of our live stream that you can look at. So it isn't me just, maybe my ears only heard. But I'll tell you what, those are documented. Okay? I'm not gonna have a situation. I have a police officer here tonight. Okay? Sad, isn't it? As a council member, I went through that. You wanted me to get on a roll? Went through having a council person here, and I hated it. I hated it. You know what happened? Watch the tapes. For the first time ever, I got off this dais, and I went in there because I didn't want residents to get in an argument in this council chamber. Okay? I didn't want that. Okay? So I said, I'm not going to have a police officer. But I had 2 residents tell me, Mayor, what if something happens and you decided not to have that person there? I'm between a rock and a hard place. I hate the idea of this. We're neighbors. And you know what that argument was over? Same thing most of you are probably here to talk about. Sad. Really sad. We wrote a letter to that person. I had a law solicitor. I didn't even want to do that. But I was tasked to do that. Our law solicitor was tasked to do that. So now we have a police officer. That's sad? I thought I have to have a police officer to worry about when I go somewhere where I don't know anybody. Not over a COW meeting. And I hope it can go away. I really do. Because I'll be the first one to get rid of it. But at the same time, now I got to worry about everybody's safety as safety director too. Mr. Harkeye knows he was on Thursday, court date, when we had that Northern Hazarot shooting. As mayor, of course, being involved. I actually was coming home right when it was taking place. I seen all 3 of our cars. We had more than that, but I seen 3 of our cars pass, and I seen the people running out of the Northern Hazard. Almost run down into my car. I seen the fear on the one woman's face. I knew it wasn't a fire drill. I got here. Mr. Harkeye's waiting in the foyer for me. Court going on. I got here, went in dispatch, and Shannon, our dispatch manager, doing her job. I wanted to know what was going on, but I looked, I said, well, I'm out of here. She's got to do her job. Okay? But I heard what I thought was happening. Okay? So I knew I had a few minutes. So as always, I have probably, I don't know if anybody tells you, Mr. Harkeye has been in my office. Probably can't even count the number of times on my hand, and I've always been very professional and have listened to him, and he's listened to me. So we were having a conversation, and Chief called me on my cell, and I knew exactly what it was about, so I had to get up and leave. Of course, some people don't think, and I had to make the point, well, watch it on TV. I'm not just being rude. There's something major going on. Well, that was during that, so I took the time to do that. Okay? And any other time. Saturday, going up to Lake Club Hill, you had your window down, wanted me to talk to you. I had an appointment. I said, I just can't do it at this time. I actually told you that I'd like to go down there with you and Rob, because I don't believe in just putting that down there without maybe having you there just to see. I'm not saying you're going to tell me we can't put it there. First of all, I want everybody to know this is a village park, okay, for all our residents. In fact, Friday I met with a lot of the mayors on the west side and shared some of this with me, and I watched their heads spin. You don't even want to know what their opinion is. So, I just want to tell, hopefully everybody knows there's two sides of every story, as Paul Harvey always said. If anybody ever wants to talk to me about it, I'm willing to talk to you. In fact, Mr. Harkey wrote me an email. And we also got a couple apology letters here, Denny, from you. I got one June 3rd for your behavior, but also had one March 10th, but so now I got two. Doesn't always mean a real lot. This is recent, in case some of you guys are here. He said to me, you wrote a big long letter about us being able to come on Sunday. Actually, I married a couple up here on Sunday. They renewed their vows. I married them Sunday at 3 o'clock. Mayor Thelman married him 25 years ago, and they wanted to do it while their sons were older. It was a beautiful thing. It was just really nice. They were real nice. So I did email you back. I put I'm unavailable, a 10-year meeting due to the prior commitments for that day. So now you know my commitment. So, because I heard some things, he just didn't want to meet with me. It's kind of sad. The thing about a mayor, you work all the time. Just so. So you asked me, let's see, what can the people do? Let's see. In the meantime, I'm going to get questioned on Sunday, and I want to give appropriate, accurate answers. What would you suggest that I tell everyone? So it's an answer a mayor should give. Have the residents watch and review meetings related to this subject. We got them on, stream them. I'm sure everybody's either got a smartphone or a computer, so you can catch up on that. That's even better, because then you can be objective. You're hearing both sides, instead of just maybe hearing one side, okay? Then I put, if any resident has any questions, they can call their members or myself. I'm sure you guys all got that email. So everybody knows that you know, that trying to communicate that. So that's good. Point is, there's no secrets, there's no hiding, there's no agenda. Talk to any of them, any of you. Bill and John, you know better than that. I'll talk to you at church, whatever. Enough of me. I don't mean to get on a tangent. It just really. Here's all I'm going to say. Let's work it out. Let's try working together and see what happens. And if anybody says, well, we can't do that, well, I guess shame on that person. Because you got to try. That's where I'm at. So what are we going to give? 5 minutes? What do you want to give?
5 minutes. Mr. Mayor?
Everybody in agreement?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Before that, there is a comment on the website, on the live stream, that says, why isn't council utilizing the upper tennis court? It's unsightly, could be used for U basketball and/or pickleball courts, thus improving TG Young. I did reply to it, but if you guys want to expound, I replied to the individual. The upper tennis court is being looked at, and a grant was applied for to help with the cost. We are looking at tennis courts and pickleball courts there.
Yes, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, Ms. Allen is correct. We did apply for a grant. That surface needs to be redone. To do the courts up there would be between $25,000 and $30,000 to redo that, resurface that, and do the courts. We just don't have $25,000 to $30,000 right now to do that. But even still, think about this. We've got tennis courts, and when hopefully we do have the $25,000 to $30,000 to do that, we have tennis courts and pickleball courts that would overlay the tennis courts. The comment would be, was, why don't you also put the basketball court, overlay a basketball court on top of pickleball courts, on top of tennis courts, when the same individual has nothing, will have nothing to do with a simple half-court basketball court overlaying half of the current facility down at the lower end. To me, that's just absurd. I'll be very point blank. But we don't have the $25,000 to $30,000. Multi-use facilities are very common in municipalities. If we go if we were to go up to T.G. Young Park right now, I'd venture to bet there's nobody up there using that area right now. That area goes unused probably 95, 97% of the time. And as a taxpayer, I'm not talking about as a council person right now, as a taxpayer, I would feel it foolish to spend $25,000 to $30,000 of our taxpayer money to build an entire new facility and let something lay dormant that much time of the week. It doesn't make sense to me. So that's where I am at. We've hashed out these conversations. The only reason why I spoke tonight on this was to answer that person's question fully. If you need any more information from me, please feel free to email me, and I'll give you any information you need. But all this stuff was looked at, it was talked about and talked about and talked about. There is disinformation going around the village, like we want to go after the Lake Club next, okay?
Anybody believes that about me?
Yeah,
My God,
it's
I've already
absolutely-
told people as mayor, I'm gonna be the first one to fight for that.
Yeah, it's absolutely absurd. And other things that we don't need to go into, but that's where it stands, and that's what
That
we're
one
going
hurt.
to do.
That one hurt. I'm gonna tell you something that you guys don't know here. I don't mean to interrupt you,
No,
Brian,
that's
sorry.
it, I'm done.
I hear it all. If anybody hears the gossip and who tells it, they tell the mayor everything, just so you know. People you think you're telling that think they're not telling me, they're telling me. Or I get it from somebody. I don't know why, but it's how it is. I don't know if it's like, well, get something maybe the mayor will, but I hear it all. It's so funny. There's no secrets in this position. It's funny because it's like this person that will tell me, I think, oh, a lot of times I'll say, I thought that was their best friend. So I hear it all. I hear who's like, and not that it matters. I mean, it just goes, but I hear it all. Sad part is when it's your small community like this, a lot of it hurts. A lot of it hurts. It really does. Anybody else, any other comments? We'll start with the residents then. We're gonna go 5 minutes.
Yes.
Everybody agree? I'm not,
Sure.
Yes.
okay. Well, we're gonna open it up. Anybody have any comments related to anything? Feel free to come up. This is nothing new. We ask that you give your name and address into the mic. That's just something we do for the record.
Good evening. My name is Frank DeMarco. I reside at 14107 Ryan Drive. I'm here tonight neither as an advocate nor an adversary of basketball or radio-controlled cars. I have nothing against either of these activities. I do not participate in either activity, and I do not intend on beginning anytime soon. I have been known to hit a tennis ball on occasion, but as we all know, the village tennis courts have been in a state of disrepair for more than a decade, perhaps almost closer to two decades, but that discussion is for another time. I'm here tonight as a concerned resident and by default a concerned taxpayer, but also one who believes in fundamental fairness and the judicious use of fiscal and physical resources. Admittedly, I am at a disadvantage because I may not be aware of the entire picture, but if any of my talking points are incorrect, I'm sure you will point them out to me. As I understand it, there is a proposal to permanently place a basketball post backboard hoop. This in of itself should not raise any eyebrows. As I further understand it, the location of this would be in what is called the radio-controlled kart track, thereby rendering the aforementioned activity virtually unusable. Certainly, both of these activities cannot coexist simultaneously. Additionally, the proposed basketball court would only be half the size of a normal court with only one hoop. The obvious question is, why this location? Additionally, I've been told that up until recently, perhaps within the last 12 months, the village did in fact have a full-size basketball court. A visit to T.G. Young Park shows that grass has been planted where there was once a basketball court. So again, with an obvious question, why did the village tear up its basketball court? What were the reasons behind doing so? Who were the proponents of tearing up this court? What did they say? Who were the advocates, if any, of keeping the court? No doubt these comments are a matter of public record, and I will further inform myself of who said what when. Given the rationale for tearing up the court, whatever that may have been, another question is, what has changed since the decision was made to tear up our full-size court and now replace it with something less? Has anyone conducted a study or survey to see if the conditions that prompted the removal of the previous basketball court have changed? If not, why not? If a study was completed, then what did it show? Currently, there are 2 portable basketball hoops near what I believe to be an overflow parking lot near a maintenance building. Anyone that desires to play basketball can play unencumbered to their heart's content. Let me say that again. They could be playing basketball right now. 2 portable hoops, full-size court.
Oh, I'll answer all your questions, Frank.
Oh, okay. I got a little bit more to go, Mr. Mayor. Another location, and perhaps more ideal, is immediately adjacent to the existing radio-controlled track. What was there before, it is obvious that it has not been used in a very long time, but not nearly as long as the tennis courts. There are already poles in place where a net or fence can be installed to separate it from the track. I cannot fathom why so many options available to Village Council would zero in on using space that is currently actively used by a radio-controlled car enthusiast to construct a basketball hoop, thereby rendering the track all but unusable. During my time in the Marine Corps, after every major exercise, we engaged in a process called lessons learned. In the civilian world, I believe this is called best practices. Instead of reinventing the wheel, has anyone reached out to neighboring communities such as Valley View, Oakwood, Bedford, Independence, etc., to see what they are doing or have done with their basketball courts? Do they still have them? Have they built new or additional courts? Do they have an increased police presence? Have we spoken to our police chief to see what the feasibility is of increased police presence in our park if we move forward with this proposal?
Frank, you gotta wrap it up, we're at 6 minutes, but go ahead.
Okay.
Unless you guys are okay, I mean, I don't,
No, we're done.
I'm not.
We done?
We're done.
Yeah, we've
just
had
gotta be,
We've
gotta
done all
be fair.
this, every
Okay.
meeting, we've.
I kinda wasn't, that's my fault, I wasn't looking at my thing. I'm gonna say real quick, actually, one of the proponents, the big proponent to, tear out the basketball court was Mr. Harkite. Actually came here to many meetings saying, why don't you you need to tear out that basketball court because someone's gonna get hurt. Okay? It's got too big of cracks. I think it's all on tape, if we weren't live streaming them. And what happens to a mayor when that happens? If it's noted something is a safety hazard, I had to close it down. Okay? So that wasn't driven for me. That was driven, then came to a meeting and said, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. We looked at, just so you know, it doesn't mean it's what to do, the base on that, the basketball, I played probably, because I was my son growing up here and being a basketball person, was terrible. The backboards were, they were the old steel ones. The way they were mounted, they were considered unsafe. You know, you hate to say it until after you make the decision because of the way the steel rods were. They didn't have pads on them and stuff. Because I hated to see that go too. What you got to understand is, if we had the funds, we would have tore the old one out and put a new one in. We were going to take the tennis courts out too. That was being talked about too. The reason we did the basketball first, not the tennis courts, because the tennis courts had a fence around them, and we were able to stop people from playing on them. The basketball court we couldn't do because it was open. So putting tape around it, we put caution tape around it and stuff, and it just got torn off, or people would just play over it. So that's what happened there. As far as, I hope everybody's aware of this. This is something, you talk about not coexisting. This council here said that they would even give the designated hours for the race car drivers, the people that go up there, on Sunday, the hours they go up there 1 to 4, and it would be designated for them only. They said that. I don't know if everybody's aware of that. So no one could go play basketball, but that wasn't even, I remember that was presented. We'll even say, okay, Sunday, 1 to 4, you have that. There isn't too many communities that are gonna do that. Okay, so that was, I hope everybody's aware of that. That was told. They could have that 1 to 4, or whatever hours they were. No one can go up there. I thought that was, I mean, I don't know what more you can have that until we work these things out. I really don't. I really don't. I would like to have I'd love to have a thing. You know, we had probably a lot of you don't remember, we had a skateboard park down there. We had residents that wanted to use a skateboard. We put a half pipe down there and stuff. So there's been multi-uses there too.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
the two hoops that were mentioned by Mr. DeMarco, those are up next to the garage, you're correct.
I'll talk to those.
Those are basically kids' hoops. They're I don't want to say cheap, because I don't think anything's cheap anymore. And the area is it's a very small area. It's part of the parking lot, and it's right behind, right next to a house. Certainly, teenagers or adults, the parkers use it right now. That's what they were bought for. They were bought for the parkers and the junior parkers to use during the summer, because they couldn't use the actual basketball. Plus, the basketball hoops, the real ones, are too tall for. So that's what those are for. It's certainly not, there's no room to have a game there. There's no room for, plus those hoops, they're just not built for that type of activity. And it's right next to a house. We have people that moved onto Alexander Road, and then they complain about the truck traffic. Well, we got somebody that moved next to the park. Now we want to have people playing basketball right next to their house. Okay, that ain't right when we have a place that is available that can be used, and anyone that thinks a basketball hoop in that entire area, what is it, Fred? It's 120 by 64, something like that. A basketball hoop in that entire area is going to destroy that entire area. I have to raise the flag, and you know what flag I'm raising. That is just absurd. So that's all I got to say about those comments.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, go ahead, Jim.
the upper area where the two basketball courts are, if you've gone up there, then you'll see that there is a lot of loose gravel. It's really not an easy space for anybody, kids or adults, to play basketball on. Also, it's not a permanent basketball hoop that is going in at the racetrack. It's an industrial portable one. So at one time, the thought was it can eventually be moved and we can put in a permanent basketball court. There's also a comment that says, from a resident, the service department said that they could fix the cracks for $1,500. Where is this $25,000? Racetrack was done for $9,500, as you know, not at taxpayer cost.
It's from Rob Kalman. Those numbers came from him.
Hey, want to hear something interesting? Guess who voted for the racetrack? Because probably that 9,000, we probably gave more than that, or if not, think. I was on council at the time. I was all for it, and I'm still for it. And do you know why? Does anybody remember? Denny, you remember why? Because we wanted more people to use the park. That was my big push. I think I might have even been chairman of recreation. I know, along with Jennifer's father. Yeah. I know a lot about the whole thing. And nothing should be negative about it. No. Yeah. Yep. Fighting over tables, that's negative. Arguing with people down there, that's negative. Even said to the thing, you could have your Sunday all to yourself. We'll even give the hours. Right here at this meeting, what, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago? I don't know what more you can do with that. Most parks, to be honest with you, you can do that at other parks, but guess what they tell you to do? Got to pay a fee. You're renting a park. Very common.
Just like.
In fact, I have some residents, hey, Mr. Colograph, I want to use the pavilion, but I have to pay for it. Other people can use, they pay for nothing. Have you thought about that? But I have made comments, we got to treat everybody the same. Any other comments from any other residents that'd like to talk? John?
John Walton, 111 Hickory. My concern is where you put it. I don't care. My concern is with the kids that are going to be there playing. Do we have anything in place? Think about this. I don't care if you say anything back or not. I don't care. Somebody gets hurt down there. We call the rescue squad, okay? We've got to get a squad down there. They got to bring their stretcher. I know they have a technical term. I don't know that. Sorry. They have to get it down there, they have to get the person on that, get them back up the hill to the spot and get them over. Do we have anything in that place? The other thing is, later on at night, I don't know if you close the park at a certain time, okay? If it was open later and we're playing basketball, I understand the cameras that are there only go so far. They don't go down to the track down there. Something that I think might want to look at, okay, to get the cameras. I don't know what you have to do. I mean, that's not my field, and I don't care to look it up for you. Those are some of the things I'm real concerned about, worried, okay? I don't want to see this village getting sued because little Jimmy fell, hurt his head, and we couldn't get a fire rescue squad or something down there. Or it rained the night before, the rescue squad got stuck, we had to get the fire truck to pull the rescue squad out. Okay, I'm just, this is, hopefully never happens. But with the recent things that just happened in other villages, young man getting shot, at a basketball game. Another one somewhere else getting beat up. So that's all I want to say, and hopefully we can get this done. Thank you.
Well, you made a great point. Why do you think I'm very concerned when someone makes a comment, bad things are going to happen? Guess what? People take things literally now. Especially when the comment's being made the same day got Northern Hazard. And children were just killed in a school and thing. Are you kidding me? I get mad and I'm around kids. I'm going to leave, I hope. I mean, and John, I have a question for you. Your concern about an ambulance should be a concern for everybody. We're probably, somebody like me, 60 years old, I'm probably more at risk than a 14-year-old kid. You know. So, I mean, but the park is the park, you know, it's open those hours. People walk it, you know, as you know, they walk it. We also have the baseball, Players Eye uses the fields up there. Well, let's not talk about that. Gosh, I hope this year I don't have to mediate that between Players Eye and another thing I have to get involved in. The former rec director would call me on that. I mean, there's a lot of things. It's not as peachy and as peachy as everybody thinks. And it should be. Talking baseball and a racetrack. But no, the mayor had to get involved.
Mr. Mayor, we have
Yes.
a comment from a resident just asking that we talk louder. And I would just like to say from my own EMS standpoint, getting a stretcher down to the basketball court there would be much easier than where the old basketball court was located, because we could use the walking trail instead of trying to push through grass. That's just from my standpoint.
Any other comments from any other residents? Yes, Lee.
Lee Nielsen, Tulip Lane. So, I want everybody to get along too. And I feel quite frustrated about this particular issue because it seems to raise a lot of energy. And I have some energy about it too, because I went down to the park the other day and I saw all of this space and there was nobody there.
I walk the track all the time with my wife. I know. There's nobody.
Nobody there. All this beautiful space, all this beautiful space. And we're cramming everything in one little spot. And in that one little spot, there is that section next to it that could be, I think, pretty reasonably patched up, and a basketball hoop could go there. But what I really want to talk about, other than asking about, are we still talking about a plan, doing a plan? Every time I get up here, I ask about a plan.
And you know what my answer was. Do you remember my
You
answer?
said it costs.
I said I was gonna task council with it.
And,
Did, so.
and council's tasked with that?
Well, I know they're looking at the old master plan. But I know it's probably gonna go to a committee. But I can tell you where we're at. We're very busy with the economic development we have going on here, and that's why I mentioned we're probably not even gonna be given a chance to recess due to
So,
that.
I'm not, I mean, this.
I know, you're-
This could be
you're
another
master plan,
conversation,
yeah.
because I'm not sure we need the massive master plan that was done before. But I do think it's important, and the recreation, you know, if you're frustrated about recreation, that has to be part of an overall plan.
I'm not frustrated about recreation, I'm frustrated about a racetrack, multi-thing that can't be shared. I mean, I didn't even want to get that involved in this. That's why it went to a rec committee thing. You know, as mayor, and I don't mean to interrupt you, Lee, but I know you were one of them too, that said, not enough committee meetings, not enough committee meetings. So you have a committee meeting, they do the work, they come up with a plan, and they bring it forward to the mayor, and the mayor is supposed to implement it. If I don't implement it, especially people come from a thing of structure, Frank, you know, then what are we going back? Then get rid of the committee, get rid of council, get rid of the survey. I mean, so that's where we're at. This whole thing went through the process,
When I talk about a plan and committees, I'm talking about
like a business plan.
putting together task forces to be part of the committee, to be part of the planning, to get input from the residents. That's what I'm really talking about.
Right.
But that's a different story.
Which they did for this. They did a survey.
I know we did a survey,
Yeah.
and, you know, that survey had been requested for well over a year before the new council got constituted. And so we finally did a survey, and I'm pleased that we did a survey.
Good.
I
Should
think-
we
I
act
think-
on the survey or ignore the results? What should?
Of course not, of course not. We should look at the survey and we should say, what is it that, I think, how many people, was it 60 responses we got? 80 out of 2,400 people. This, you know, I get, the survey's important. It's disappointing that we get so few.
And that's common with
Okay.
surveys.
Yeah, but the survey's important, and input from the citizens is important, in my view, really important. Not just for a survey about recreation, but for looking at the future for this community. And given that, you know, I hear you talk quite a lot about the Ford plant and the money coming in, and great, fabulous. However, how are we going to use that money? Do we have a plan for that? Are we structured in a way that we can say, we have this money coming in, and now here are the priorities of the village?
Just
So-
started.
I'm sorry?
It's only been going on a month here, a couple of weeks. We don't know for sure what's going to happen. We have to-
Exactly.
We have to figure out what the developer wants to do before we can make estimates and come up with a plan. It's kind of too early to have them until we really know what's happening up at that corner there, in my opinion.
Well, one thing.
Of course,
I-
it's early,
one thing-
but it's also important
one
as a
thing
community
I-
to set priorities.
One thing I think, without even setting priorities, is we need to have more in the general fund than we have. That's just a general rule. You need to have more in your general fund, no different than having money in your bank. So without even doing anything, we want to build up the general fund a little bit, because right now, our general fund isn't large enough that if we did have a major infrastructure or something, you know, we've talked about like some of the things in the service department, dump trucks and stuff, we would be in trouble, and we don't want that. So I think the first thing we do is to establish what that amount is. So you're right, we need to establish what that amount is for general fund, and then look where we want to do the other spending.
Right.
Yes.
But-
But that's a good problem to have,
It is a good problem.
and
However,
I'm looking forward to having that problem.
you know, you probably got a timer on me, and I'm going to run out of time, and I haven't said anything about what I was going to say. But I do think that, you know, we have issues in the community
Okay.
that are, I think, important for community residents to be involved in and to say, is this what we want? As I understand, and I think I was away for a year when this happened, that when the event center was decided upon, it was decided upon by the council. There wasn't a lot of input from the community. Am I correct on that?
Correct, you're correct.
Yeah.
Well,
And
there
so
was
we
input from the
spent,
community.
To buy it? Is that what you're?
yeah, my understanding was there was very little input from the community on that.
Purchase it, the original purchase?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a comment. You vote for us, and,
Right.
Exactly.
well, you vote for us, and we always are welcome and open to take people's suggestions, always. But you have to trust us,
Yeah,
too.
big
When we purchased that event center, we were not in the best fiscal shape, but we also knew it was the one-time opportunity we were ever going to have to get at a center like that. We have asked people, do you want to give it up? Do you want us to sell it? No. It's around, they say no. Also, all we would get, as the mayor said, if we sold it, is a couple of plots, or a couple of houses go up, and that's the end of our revenue. So you don't like our decisions, then you don't vote for us. But as far as going forward, it's like a homeowner. You are living from paycheck to paycheck. You do what has to be done in the immediate time at that point. But once the money comes in, you say, you know, we haven't had a roof on this house in 30 years. We've got the money, let's do it. That gets done. We need a new driveway. This is how this council thinks. There are many roads that need repair that are the residential roads that we cannot get grants for. We have 5-year plans for some of these roads that are done by our engineers. We think about the long-term needs of this village. I don't know why no one thinks we're doing that, but we are, and we want to keep this village going. And if we wouldn't have been as frugal as we are, we'd be in fiscal emergency. We've had to work with the police and everyone else when people didn't get raises for years. So, yes, are we waiting for money? Yes. We do have the long-term village's best interest at heart. Again, we're welcome to take whatever comments or suggestions that you have, but don't ever think that we're not working for the long-term achievement, I don't know what you want to call long-term sustainability of this village, because we are.
I believe you on that. My only comment on that,
Wrap it
Councilor-
up too, Lee. I don't mean to cut you off, but your 5 minutes is up, but,
My 5 minutes was up a long time ago, I think.
so to be fair to everybody else.
The important thing from my perspective is to develop a plan that has citizen input. The only other thing that I wanted to say, if I could just take 30 seconds, is when I look at national politics, I get very disgusted, very frustrated, because I see a lot of special interests that are influencing decisions. And we can talk about guns right now, and we can see that there's a lot of influence on those decisions. And
We
I
had a
don't,
safety and insurance committee before that, and we talked about that.
I certainly don't want that to happen in this community, that we have our council people, our elected people, who are in any way pushing their own agendas. I was looking at the local oaths, and the oaths say impartiality. That the oath that you take, I think, it talks about impartiality as being an important component. And I really want to see that. My concern is I've listened to this discussion about the racetrack over and over again. What I'm concerned about is there has not been, and I could be wrong, but I don't think so, a serious look at alternatives. Because in my uneducated eye, I look at that racetrack and I look at that space next to it, I'm like, why isn't that a basketball court? That's my point. So I'm concerned, I certainly don't want to think that there is any kind of partiality going on in this group as there is in our national politics. So, thank you. I would like to see more pushback on making a decision like this so that we really are clear that it is the only and best option. Thanks.
You gave an option that they can use the racetrack from 1 to 4 every Sunday just for themselves. What other option do they have? I'd like to use the Lake Club every Sunday. Just me and my family. But no cost associated to it. I mean, that council gave that option. Isn't that the same as right now? Oh, maybe there's a basketball hoop in the corner. I mean, please,
Mr. Mayor.
please, is that, okay, they gave the option that you could go up there every Sunday and and race up there, and even said we'll give you designated hours. What more?
Mr. Mayor, very
Talk about
respectfully,
wasting time.
very respectfully, Ms. Nielsen, very respectfully, Ms. Nielsen, we did look at the options, and this was the best, what we all decided was the best course of action. We did. Whether you believe that or not, I can't do anything about that. We did.
The batting cages are supposed to be used this year, correct?
Correct.
And we got a new batting, ball throwing machine, whatever,
Correct.
that's going to be in that area.
Correct.
With the baseball courts being rented out also.
Correct.
You know, the sad part is you won't see, we only had a few people sign up for recreational baseball. Recreational baseball, especially in the suburbs, you don't see it that much because everybody's playing travel baseball. It's very popular. In the more inner city type programs, you'll see it. Recreational baseball is a lot more popular in the summer. So it is sad, as people mentioned, when you go up there and you see that empty. It is sad. So we're very fortunate that we do have a gentleman who has a business in the village, Players Eye, right on Northfield Road, who's an instructional baseball program, leases our fields and maintains our fields for us. That's part of the agreement. So when you do see activity up there, it's usually his tournaments and stuff, which because of COVID, there wasn't as many. But this year, hopefully, we're hoping it picks up. Anybody else have any? Jeff?
Alexander, 7312 Walton. It's directed at Mr. Montello or Chief Jaworski. Where do we stand with the traffic cameras, the latest news about being, funding, we use them?
Go ahead, John, you can talk.
I actually spoke to Judge Nicastro today, and we're gonna continue with the cameras. There's nothing illegal about them. We just have to figure out how the tickets are processed is the issue. So for example, now the municipal court has to handle all the tickets. They're probably gonna handle the collection of the money, where now we're allowing the village or the camera company to collect the money, but that's gotta change under the new law. So the courts are trying to structure themselves in a way that they can make, they want to make it happen. So there's the camera companies are trying to work with the court. It's all evolving as we speak. And Judge Nicastro would be willing to come to a meeting. She actually offered today
Right.
to discuss, but they haven't worked out all the details yet.
Okay, how the money's gonna be collected other than the way it is now?
Yes, okay, that's about it. Yes.
I'll make a comment. Right now, our cameras are on. We left ours on.
Yes.
Okay? When they talk about the offset, the offset is the local government fund, okay? We received last year $28,000 from the local government fund, okay? So with that, and I think from our cameras, we were at close to 400,000, which means they take their $26,000, we're still collecting more from some communities that get a lot of money. Their cameras might offset. So to keep us safe and keep our speeders down, it still makes sense for us because the village would not be losing much from the local government fund.
Funding.
Okay, so that's where that's at. We received 26,000. But then there would be those extra funds that would be tacked on from the tickets and stuff that Mr. Montello talked about, and Judge McCastro.
Yeah, Mayor, that's another reason council's being rather frugal here. You know, they have to, we're not 100% sure what's going to happen yet, but it looks like the cameras are going to continue to be not only a source of revenue, but safety for the village. You know, that's the main purpose of it. I don't know if you've been watching the news, but Newburgh Heights does $2 million or something along those lines a year. You know, we're using it much less and much, you know,
Mr. Mayor.
we're not using it as a revenue stream, we're using it as a safety issue, but the revenues helps as well, though.
Go ahead, Jennifer.
Or just in 2020, at the end of 2020, and that was a COVID year, so there was lighter traffic, the village received over $570,000 from the cameras.
So don't speed.
Yeah.
Don't speed, but you shouldn't speed anyways. Any other residents have anything before council? Yes, Mr. Harkeye.
Denny Harkeye, Hickory Drive. Okay, first of all, there's no one in our group of racers that is unwilling to share. We're aglow with the spirit of cooperation and being reasonable. And don't make faces at me when I'm talking.
Denny, I'm gonna tell you, I'm not gonna,
Okay,
there you
all right,
go,
that's fine.
start. I'm not
All right,
going through
okay,
that
fine.
again.
All right.
I just talked to you. I'm
All
not
right,
going
fine.
through that.
Okay,
Can't be so sensitive.
I have him here for that reason, and I don't want to be in that position. Let's be
all
professional
right,
with everybody.
all right, okay. The reason I sent an email out to everyone on council and our administration, inviting them to come to the racetrack on Sunday between the hours of 2 and 5, was so that we could have, first of all, you introduce yourselves to our group, and then to explain exactly what the plan is to do with the racetrack surface. I'm going to guess that you've been shopping and being prudent about what you intend to buy, and that perhaps one of the places you shopped for a basketball hoop was Great Escape. Did you shop at Great Escape for, there's lots of them available, but did you shop at Great Escape?
Me personally?
Anybody?
I was up there, yes, I looked at their numbers compared to what we found, and
Okay.
they're much higher.
Then at least you know what these, what these units are like. The units that are sold at Great Escape, they have 4 different ones of different sizes and heights, and they all have the same exact requirement for mounting. You need to bore a 48-inch hole deep in the ground, 16 inches in diameter, that needs to be filled with concrete. You need 11 80-pound bags of concrete along with rebar material to make a suitable mounting position for this unit. Unless you're looking at a different kind of unit, the ones that they sell at Great Escape need to be mounted. They're intended, they're designed, they're built and made to be mounted permanently. Now, I heard the discussion saying this is only going to be temporary, but the units that I looked at, unless you were looking at something different, need to be mounted permanently in order to stand there. They're not going to stand there by themselves. If a hole 48 inches deep and 16 inches in diameter is mounted this far from the wall that was described, that hole would be right square in the middle of the racetrack, making it impossible to drive a racetrack with that post mounted on the racetrack. In addition to doing that, all the boards that make the perimeter of the racetrack would have to be removed completely so that the players don't trip over them while they're trying to play basketball. And at the same time, once you remove all the borders and the barriers for the racetrack becomes destroyed. It is physically, not because we don't want to cooperate, it's physically impossible for those two systems to operate together. If that gets mounted in the ground, you can write the racetrack off, it's destroyed. Now, what I'd like to do if you would cooperate and do this with me, let's go down there one day, the people that are making this decision, let's get our service director, if he would come or be authorized to come, and let's have a rational discussion about how we can make this work. We're not against cooperating, we're not against sharing, But if you could see what I'm really talking about, it may influence you to move your plan to some other location. Would you be willing to do that? Could somebody meet us down there to have it?
I'm gonna tell you where I'm at with it. You are told you can have Sundays the same time you have, okay? I told you that I'd go down there with me, you, and Rob, okay? Not, but you said, well, what's gonna happen? You keep saying this, if you find out, think, no, I've been tasked to do it, okay? I just didn't want to send our service department. You know why I didn't send our service department? Because they're going to go down there and do it, and you're going to get an argument with them. And I'm going to be in a tougher position. Okay? Danny, I'm going to tell you something. I can't believe that you didn't come up there and say, let's try it, and cooperate. Are we kidding me? Does the whole group feel that way?
With
That
all-
you don't even want to give us a try?
With all due respect, we're not.
Any other residents? You're not willing? Look, I'd like to hear from some other residents.
We're not-
You don't want to. You say you're willing to cooperate, but it's only your way. I'm telling you, that's how I feel about it. Danny, I'm being honest with you. I've dealt with you on so many different things. I'm being so straightforward. I didn't even want to have this conversation. It's live stream. I got these. You want me to read the apology letters? You know what? I had never had an apology because I've never done anything nasty to you. I got an apology letter here from you because you guys don't even know half of it. You don't even know the 3 years of emails, this and that. We're trying to work with you.
We don't have to.
Here's what needs to be done. Okay? Let's try to do it. If it doesn't work, why can't we revisit it? What is wrong with that?
Nothing, except that trying to put those two facilities on the same platform, make it impossible to, make it impossible to use both of them, and that's a major error. It's physically impossible to put that post in the middle of the racetrack and run race cars and not have the borders for the outside of the track. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as
Denny-
that. If you want to go ahead and do it, go ahead and do it, but write the racetrack off, it's finished. It can't happen.
Well, see, that's a shame. Now, that's a shame.
It's only
Now,
because,
that's-
it's only
Mr.
because
Mayor,
it's
Mr.
impossible.
Mayor.
Wait, stop for a minute. That's a shame. Now, wouldn't it be better if you said, Mayor, go ahead and do it. We'll go down there and try it, and if it doesn't work out, I'll come and talk to you.
Mr. Mayor?
That's better than saying, let's just close the door. That's sad. Because I'll tell you what, in this position, I never can do that. I wouldn't have a relationship with one of the mayors around here or anybody. Because you gotta learn to agree to disagree.
So you're gonna.
So
go ahead and do this?
what I'm asking you, well, you were here. Council made a motion.
That's the end of the racetrack. That's finished. It's
Mr.
done.
Mayor,
You ruined
Mr.
the
Mayor,
racetrack, it's done. It's
Mr.
done.
Mayor.
It can't work. It
Well-
physically cannot work.
Mr.
It
Mayor.
just physically cannot work.
Go ahead,
Mr. Mayor.
Brian.
It's not
After
about our
we're done
willingness to
with this,
cooperate.
Mr. Mayor, after we're done with this, Jeremy, you're welcome to go up there and race your cars, anybody else is. If Mr. Harkai, you don't like how it comes out, you're welcome to race your cars anywhere else you please. You can go up to Maple Heights and race your cars.
You are
can
so
do
sweet.
whatever. Yeah, I am. So you are welcome to race your car anywhere you want.
But that's, hey, I will sit there and tell you, why can't you try it? Go ahead, Lee. Well, all right, guess what? It won't be the first time. It will, how about when I had to get you, when we got a recording at the safety meeting, when you and said some things, you guys don't understand. I have to worry about what's going on up there. Am I gonna have to worry about that now? Yes. Well, Chief, well, okay. Yeah, go ahead, Frank.
I just have one question. You put this basketball post in, try to dual use. I got no problem with that. Again, I have no dog in any fight. I don't play basketball under radio
I'm
control
trying to
car.
satisfy everybody. I got a survey.
Okay, I got a question for Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
If, in fact, the racetrack cannot be used appropriately, are you going to be willing to rip that post out?
Okay, what's appropriately? So we gotta define those.
Okay, well, right
What
now.
about someone playing basketball?
This is the
We're not
debate.
talking basketball. We're talking if the racetrack as it is now becomes
I'm not
virtually
committing to
unusable.
nothing.
Okay,
Without-
well, then what I'm hearing is,
Mr.
we're
Mayor,
gonna
there
do
is
this.
no post going in.
I'm
This
sorry,
is- There
pardon me?
is no post going in. This is a
It's
portable
misinformation. You've been
basketball
told
hoop.
wrong.
It's not being
you have been
mounted
told
into the
wrong.
ground.
I said in the beginning, but no one listened, that it's a portable one that's gonna be.
Not being mounted into the ground.
There are two portable basketball hoops now.
No, but they want to, it has to be like a commercial type one, Frank, a little.
All right. Again, I have no problem with trying, but
Do you think I want, you don't, does anybody in their right mind don't think I want it to work? Do you think I enjoy this? You know, I have so.
I want to believe that.
Well, how can you not believe it?
Well-
Okay? How can you not believe it? Anytime somebody wants to talk to about, I've never said no. I got people waiting. I'll tell you, it is unbelievable that it's gotten to this point. It really has.
Let's see how it works out.
Yes, of course.
Mr. Mayor? Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead,
Mr.
Jennifer.
DeMarco, I don't know who told you that that was going to be a permanent post. Mr. Harkeye himself knew because he has made comments at past meetings that it would weigh 300 pounds. And that's what would have to be filled with either sand or water, and the weight of it would be approximately 300 pounds on a portable hoop.
Is the current backboard going to be affected? I mean, basketball is going to trip over this thing. Oh, the backboard, the racetrack backboard, whatever it's called. They're not going to trip over it?
If that's,
Nothing,
You know,
nothing
there's all
should be
the-
on that.
all this stuff has to be,
I play basketball, but
huh?
I know how the game works.
There shouldn't be
Yeah,
anything
nothing's
at
supposed to be
all
there now.
in the area
That
when
was-
it's not in
that's-
use. So if somebody has something that they're leaving out there permanently, that's wrong. Okay, the women's club doesn't leave their coffee pots set up in the community room every day and expect that they're the only ones that could use those.
That's absolutely correct.
So, there's Mr. Harkeye, you have a key that you come and get, that you had personally, which no other resident in this village had personal access to any part of this village or any of the village property. Nobody's telling you to move your stuff. You can keep using it. You can go up here and get the key and keep your stuff in the storage shed. That's what you said was done. You never said that anything was going to be there permanently, and I'm sorry, but nothing's being given to any resident permanently. Mr. Harkeye, we just approved meeting minutes tonight where you were chastising us in one of them from February 1st about making things multi-use. I
You
don't
know,
have anything else, Mr.
you know, I guess it's been there 10 years. Okay? And it's been used, which is wonderful. It's good. Hopefully it will continue to be used. Well, that's fine, Denny, that's fine. That, some people think that's fine. But, you know, everybody's always worked with everybody. I just don't understand it. In fact, here's the frustrating thing. I want you guys to know the most frustrating thing. After that meeting last week, when council made a motion to put this to rest and make it a multi-use park, I knew the frustration there by Mr. Harkeye, okay? And I knew I didn't want to just have Rob go up there and just do it, and because I knew there would be arguments and stuff, and I didn't think that was right to Denny. So I told him that the three of us will go up there, work it out. Because what my goal was, like anything, 3 men go up there and might not agree, but we could get it worked out. Just not fast enough for you. Just not fast enough. You got to get it your way right like that, okay? And the reason I didn't, because I didn't have the time, okay? We haven't bought anything. We haven't done anything, okay? Anybody tell you that? Tell you that the mayors, I didn't even have to do that. I could just say, most mayors, you think any mayors, you know what they do? They direct their service director to go and do it. I didn't want any arguments. I didn't want that. because I was hoping I can get to a compromise. Where everybody gets one turn. So it's, if anybody says that I didn't try to work with you or anything like that, and have worked for 10 years, I didn't even bring up half the situations.
Mr. Mayor, I would just like to point out that it was brought to our attention about the bathrooms, and we've gone through and made special arrangements so that the bathrooms at the park are opened all the time too
Correct.
now.
Well, the police open them up in the morning and lock them at night.
Yes, which was not being done before until the Parker program started.
And somebody said, why did they become locked? Well, I wasn't here at that meeting or thing. Well, there was a reason why we started locking them again. We had vandalism, we had someone smearing stuff in the bathrooms. That whole thing got twisted. But I wasn't at that, or something happened, I said, I wish I could answer that question. Any other residents have any comments? Go ahead, Sean.
Sean McCormick, 18850 Alexander Road. Just a question, real quick. Is this hoop supposed to be, intended to be moved when it's not in basketball phase? I'm confused, I'll be quite honest. I don't know if I missed a meeting prior, but I don't know the full scope of council's plan.
It's from what we have, what we're looking at, it is a portable hoop. It's heavy, but it's a portable hoop, and it's a commercial grade portable hoop. It can be moved, but there's no reason. If you go, have you been up in that area? There's no
Yeah.
reason. A hoop put on the north end of that large area is not going to destroy that racetrack. It's just, I mean, it's incredible to me that that's even suggested. That even if they have to shorten it up 3 feet, 4 feet, whatever it is, that's gonna ruin the entire thing. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And for the amount of people that do use that, and the amount of people who answered the survey, and of course we know 80 people answered it, not, I wish there were more, but overwhelmingly wanted basketball put up there. And if somebody can't work with the space that's there, again, 120 feet, okay, long, by 64 feet wide, you can't work with that by a few feet? As far as I'm concerned, we all looked at it, we looked at the facility. I've been down there several times with the rec director. I know Fred's been down there. Mayor's certainly been down there. It's just, this has been way too long of a conversation for a little bit of striping in a basketball. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's.
Could there be any way for someone to put a chalk outline on what the footprint would be for the basketball hoop base, just to get a visual?
When we get that ordered to see, yeah, sure. I don't have any.
Okay,
issues
and
with
then
that.
the only other question I had is, I know technically it's portable, the 300 pounds is, but could there be situations where upon request that it could be moved for a race car event if there was something? And that doesn't require an answer now.
Sure,
I'm just
everything is up for.
Technically speaking, maybe not all the time, but if there was a special event or a day of the week or something once a month to clear the whole space. And the only reason I ask is, my driveway is 125 feet long by, 2 car lengths. My son's radio control car smacked my father's car, thus rendering the front end useless. I mean, we're learning, He's gotten better, but, it was nice to be able to go somewhere that wasn't my backyard where we had to clean the entire thing. It's not $500. We're not getting to that point yet. But, in the interest of trying to, again, make everybody a little bit more happier, how can we look outside the box and maybe just with scheduling and communication, keep as much of this space usable for both parties until hopefully, cross our fingers, the grant comes through. That's my thoughts.
There are options with the barriers that why not move the barriers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that would be an easy fix. I don't understand
I think,
why.
I think, like, for me, seeing something like that would be like some chalk, just to look at it. I mean, I would be willing to look at it as someone, I haven't been there a lot, but, maybe just, again, with scheduling and communication, maybe we could make it work. And some chalk, and great chalk.
Trying to make it work's been lasting almost a year now.
Well,
Okay, I mean, sometimes you got to come to the thing, you got to get it settled and move on. I'm frustrated because it's like, I'm asking for cooperation. Asking for cooperation on a village-owned piece of property that other residents want to use. That's all.
And
Can I ask for adjournment?
can I say
Mayor.
one more thing outside of this?
Ray, you
Go
have
ahead,
something? Go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, good evening to everyone. Mayor Colger, I just wanted to respond to Ms. Nilsson's inquiry regarding the planning process. I have not said anything publicly yet to council or for the community, but I have been in touch with the Cuyahoga County Planning Department to take a look at our 15-year plan. I mean, our 15-year-old master plan. And so I have made some contact, and I'm waiting for that contact to come back to say, to give us some advice and some direction as to, what we may be able to do in 2022, to take a look at some longer-term planning. So I did not want to interfere in anyone's 5 minutes, so I held my comment until now.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes. Fine, go ahead.
At the next meeting sometime, whether it's before the meeting, the COW, or after, I'd like to add an information committee meeting and a rec committee meeting, only for the purposes of approving our minutes from the previous meetings. So it would last 2 minutes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd also like to add an economic development meeting to that, so we could approve the minutes. Otherwise, we'd have to wait until it would be November.
Do we want to live stream that or no?
That would be June 21st. If you want to do it
Whenever you want.
before the council meeting, we could
We
start
can
at
do that.
6:30.
But, yeah, we can do that. I don't know if we need a particular live stream just to do
Okay.
that. or
I just want to know
we
because
can
otherwise,
do it.
so we don't have to set up the link then.
Yeah, but it's up to you and the.
It'll take
council
longer
president.
to open the meeting and close the meeting.
Right.
To approve the minutes, so.
We could still record it. I'll just record it the other
Okay.
way.
Thank you.
So June 21st at 6:30 would be okay for all three?
June 21st,
Right.
that's at the regular council meeting.
Mm-hmm.
At what time?
6:30?
Sure.
Wait till we get our business done, Mr. Harkeye.
Which committee?
Economic development.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything under other business?
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to remind everybody, next week we have, starting at 5:30, finance prior to the COW meeting.
Okay,
Go through the budget with Angela and stuff.
very good. Okay,
So if we can make sure there's a link set up for that too.
okay.
I think there may have been, but I don't, was too busy trying to make sure this came up.
Parkers start on Monday, June 13th. We have about 53 kids this year. We did, we were very fortunate. They hired 3 teachers that came out of the Recreation Committee along with the residents, group leaders, plus we have our counselors back. So we're looking forward to a good year for our Parker program. We got things worked out. I know
They
The
went through
lake.
CPR training?
they went through their CPR training. I know they met with the lake, and I think they're gonna have good experience down there. And we'll work things out as time goes on, so looking forward to the good summer for our kids too up at the park. Because that's, I look at one of the, besides our enjoyment, that's a great thing to see those kids running around at that park. And we have a lot of residents, grandchildren, and non-residents that use it too. So we got a nice number this year, 53. Pretty manageable and stuff. Is Tyler going? Good. Good, good. That's what we'd like to hear.
Mr. Mayor, we
Yes.
have one more comment online. It says it's funny that 25,000 is thrown around when the much larger surface that is the racetrack was done for 9,500.
It's a completely different, the racetrack was just topped. This, with the tennis court, has to be milled and redone. It's, yeah, it's a completely different process.
Has to be.
It's a completely different process. It needs a lot more work than that
Plus, you're
needed.
talking 10 years difference. Price has gone up a little in 10 years.
Yeah, but it's, that whole, the surface needs to be removed and then re-put on as opposed to, again, somebody that. Anyways, that's what it is. It's the type of resurfacing is not comparable.
Mr. Huck, I had a couple more questions. Is everybody okay with that? I'm not going to get into debate. Go ahead, Denny.
Is it 57?
This portable unit, if it's used by someone to play basketball, and it's left where it was when they're done using it, and someone wants to use the facility for something else, if that's in the way, who's going to move it from where it is, or vice versa? Are the racers expect to move it if they want to come down there during the week sometime and they find this thing sitting there? Or will the people who used it last move it out of the way? And the second question is, I'm going to plead with you all one more time. Don, you've said you'd meet with me. All you got to do is tell me a time, a day, and a place, and I will be glad to meet you for a gentleman, rational discussion about this whole situation. And I'd like for all of you to be there, or as many of you as possible. One more discussion, and that'll be the end of it. Nobody could be more tied to this than I am, and that will be the end of it. If you say tomorrow, I'll meet you down there, we have a discussion, I'm going to walk away and be done with it. Promise. Would you do that for me? Tell me.
Denny, here's what I told you. Okay, and I'm going to say it again because I already know where it's going. We will walk away and nothing will be done. It's being tasked to get done. Okay, what I said to you, I wanted to meet with you so we could go down there. They lay it out, they put it there. Okay, so isn't all of a sudden you just show up and your stuff's moved and stuff? Because I don't believe in that. I was trying to go down there, have our service department meet with you, work it out, all get on the same page. And then you said to me, well, if I show you, and you do this very good, okay, well, if I show you, what's your answer going to be? You're not going to do it then? After I just said that wasn't the purpose of going there with you. The purpose of going there with you is to say it's happening, let's work it out, so it works for both the people that are going to play basketball and the people who race the cars. But you won't come to that conclusion with me. So there's nothing to discuss. Your discussion, and you came out and told me, is to say, if I show you that it can't be done, you won't do it. And we're not at that part, Denny. That's, I mean, I don't want to waste your time or my time. It wouldn't be right. It's,
Another thing is,
so, but I will tell you this, when we go down there to do that, I will let you know, or anybody else. But I will tell you this,
okay,
there won't be any arguing or anything on that, because that's still village property. I probably won't go there by myself. You notice when I met with you the other day, I met with you with our prosecutor. I used to meet with you alone. Sad.
very.
Not on my end. So, you don't want me to read the letters. Can I have a motion for adjournment, please?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Vote on the motion. Jennifer Allen.
Yes.
Mary Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Fred Nielsen.
Yes.
Raymond Whedon.
Yes.
Brian Spitznagle.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned at 9:01. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Chief.
Are we off?
Turn this,